The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
Oh, yeah. All right. All right. Check this out. 1, 2, 3. In the place to be, as it is plain to see. He is DJ Run, and I am DMC. Funky Fresh for 1983. DJ Jam Master J. Inside the place with all the bass. He leaves without a trace. And he came here tonight to get on your case. And we are the crush grooving, the body moving, the record making, and the record breaking. And it goes a little something like this. It goes a 1, 2, 3, and here we go. 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 DMC and DJ Run. Dum diddy dum diddy diddy dum dum. We're rocking on the mic and then you know where we're from. Dum diddy dum dum. We hope you're ready for the big beat drum. Drum diddy drum drum. So people in the place in the big beat come. Here it come, here it come, here it kitty come. Come on everybody, let's all get down. What we have is a brand new sound. So nobody out there be misled. We make up all these rhymes inside our head. The other MCs cannot compete. When we rap on the mic to this big beat. The beat is big, it's kind of large. And when we're on the mic, we're in charge.
It's like that jaw,
That jaw.
like that jaw,
That jaw.
like that other back, I like that jaw.
That jaw.
Cool G fella, I don't drink fella, but keep a bag of cheaper inside my leg. I go to school every day, on the stomach to pay, cause I'm rocking on the mic until the break of day.
And now the things I do make me a star. And you can be too if you know who you are. Just put your mind to it, you go real far. And the next thing you know, you have a big star.
Listen to the beat that I say, because it's not routine, it's the way I play. Just come out my mouth all time of the day, and then I'm multi-time Jam Master J.
Hey, they used to call me Easy D because I rapped on the mic so easily. But now they call me DMC. He's DMC of the bar.
GMC. Oh, did you get that echo too?
I did. I think it's gone now.
Am I in the chamber? Did I ever tell you one of my favorite movies is Anchorman?
No, you did not tell me that.
Do you like that movie?
I don't even know what that movie is.
Oh, bruh. Come on, man. You're not a Will Ferrell guy?
Oh, Anchorman. Yes. I'm thinking about Anchor, like ship anchor. You're talking about the TV Anchor. Yes, I've seen that movie before.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
That echo just made me think. I'm in a glass case. Where are you, Ryan? Where are you, Mark? I'm in a glass case of emotion. All right, we got that worked out. The echo is gone. Welcome back, folk, from your long, well, some of you are not even back yet. I don't know where you are. You have to probably listen to this when you get back from wherever it is that you are. Even if you haven't gone on vacation physically, you probably checked out mentally on this long holiday break between Christmas and New Year's Day with Kwanzaa caught in the middle. And no, yes, it is Ujima, Habarigani, Ujima.
Yes.
But that is not self-determination. I think somebody here at WURD is testing us. They're like, I caught that voice too. They were like, all right, we're going to throw off, Royster and Tyler this morning. Throw a test on them. It's Ujima self-determination, right? No. Not at all. Don't you have Atlanta Karanga calling us? So it's the Power Hour brought to you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, here on WURD Radio, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Sitting across from me, miles away from me, we're practicing social distancing this morning, is Bishop Dwayne David Royster.
And sitting across from me is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler.
Yep, and hold it down today because somebody is off probably baking great baked goods and cooking up some soul food. Kwasa's gone, taking a well-deserved rest. Jordan is back this morning holding it down. What's up, Jordan? There you go. Yeah, right
good?
back
How
at you.
doing?
What's up? Sure. Jordan wasn't expecting that.
No.
Nah,
So
not
wait a
even.
minute, let me say something. My sister-in-law's birthday was about a month and a half ago, And we did a Zoom call to celebrate her birthday. It was one of those special birthdays. I won't give out the age because she will probably choke me later on. But I was on the Zoom call, and on the Zoom, I don't know if I mentioned this on the air or not, but on the Zoom, on either side of me on the Zoom, one side was Dr. Molefe Asante, and the other side was Dr. Milana Karenge. Right?
Wow.
So my sister-in-law is a professor over at Stockton State, distinguished professor of African American Studies over at Stockton State, and these were her colleagues. And so I'm in this call, kind of geeking a little bit as I'm sitting here with all these distinguished academics, feeling woefully inadequate. So,
And you're the second person that I know personally who's been on a call with Karanga.
Oh, really?
Recently.
Okay. Yeah.
That's like deep.
Yeah.
So we need to celebrate that brother.
Absolutely. So it was kind of wild to be sitting there with these folk, and there were a few other folk on there that had some distinguished names and things, and I was like, oh, okay.
Were they like in lecture mode or birthday mode?
No, they were chilling, man. It was really funny because they were just very relaxed. I mean, Karenga had his normal dashiki on, but and so did Sante for that matter, not just Sante. But yes, it was. They were just very relaxed.
I can see both of them. Let me tell you about the birthday, the so-called birthday. It's a white man's creation, meant to sell Hallmark cards. Don't fall for the trap, brother.
They weren't even like that. They weren't even like that. It was totally different, man. Totally different. It was funny.
No, man, those are two, like you said, great scholars who've had a tremendous impact. Shout out to them. And so, a lot to get to. First of all, how was your Christmas?
My Christmas was okay. It was a little busy. It was much smaller than we normally have for Christmas. But we had to, do a lot of stuff around protecting folk, and my parents are getting up there, so we had to be safe with them. But it was good. It was just, food, eating, talking, laughing, swapping stories that we've been swapping for the last 50 some odd years, and moving on. That was what it was.
Yeah. I mean, well, we're all. I mean, hey, man, it's like a Zoom world, right? I mean, that's kind of what Christmas has come to now: Zoom and conference calls and three-way calls and getting family members on the phones, older family members in particular. So, I mean, it was good. I mean, the fact that we're still here to talk about it, it's all good. I mean, the great news is that next year, this time, we'll be celebrating a whole lot of new babies in our families.
Yes, we will. Absolutely.
They say the new coronavirus baby boom starts in January. I wanted to say this month, but I mean, it's almost this month anyway.
Right.
So there are going to be a lot of babies from all this quarantine. People are trying to repopulate the earth.
Yes, so they're going to try to, make up for lost time and all those things. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy season, and Baby R Us went out of business a little too early. So,
I was going to say, take some stock out in that, but it is gone, isn't it?
It's gone, yes.
I know they're probably like kicking themselves right now. So more money for Jeff Bezos. And by Jeff Bezos, I really mean his ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, to give away to HBCUs. So go buy your baby products on Amazon. That money will eventually trickle back down to the black community. Glad to see folk on social media this morning. Do us a big favor and hit the share button. Glad to see Robert. Robert, you never seen, which one haven't you seen? You said, I don't think I've ever seen him. Asante or Karanga? Glad to see Bernita and Karen as well as Gary. Good morning, right back at you. What's up, Kenrick? The power duo. Thank you. We'll own that.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see Raphael in the house as well. Man, come on, Raphael, it's too early for the doom and gloom. We're in a time of tribulation, pastors. We better get ready to be prepared spiritually for what 2021 may bring. Oh, man. I mean, I know you're right, but come on, bro. It's like, let us get warmed up first. Glad to see all of y'all this morning. Prayers for you, Franny. I see you out there as well. Homegoing of your dad over the weekend. Praying for you and your family. Kathleen, Ed Minner, who says that we are the fastest hour of radio. Glad to see Sheila Booker as well. And Ron, yes, this is classic Run DMC. That's how we start the show each and every Monday morning. So Raiders and Eagle fans, we're in the same boat right now. Two teams that absolutely suck, that could not help themselves. And you know what they remind me of?
What's that?
That's like topical. They both remind me of shot dogs going down.
That's terrible. That's terrible. What an analogy. What an analogy.
Well, you know why I say that, right?
Why is that?
Because that's like, oh man, I can't think of the senator's name right now at the top of my head, who's over the committee, who basically, so Mo Brooks from Alabama, senator, and his soon-to-be neophyte from Alabama. What's up with Alabama? Tommy Tuberville, are still seeking to overturn the election.
Yes.
So they plan to, I guess the South will rise one more time, and they're going to contest the counting of the ballots or the electoral college results on January 6th. Of course, to make this happen, you would need a majority of the House and the Senate to agree. So we already know it's not going to work. Mitch McConnell is against it because it's going to draw them out into a vote. They're trying to bring it up as a debate that would then have to be voted on in the Senate, which again is just going to put people in an awkward position.
Right.
They're trying to secure Georgia, but all these little things undermine it. And so when it was brought up, I don't know, was it Thune? I can't remember which senator, but essentially he said that thing, if it comes up, is going down like a shot dog. He could have said it's going down like the season for the Raiders or the Eagles, but he chose shot dog instead. Pretty much.
He should have gone like a shot-free chicken, but
I can't believe these guys, man. They're still out here trying to do this. So speaking of free chicken, what's our free chicken up to? Donald Trump. We got a month left of free chicken.
So, our latest free chicken was talking about the fact that he was not going to sign the COVID relief bill, and then last night signed the COVID relief bill. And finally, so hopefully some folk will start to see some relief, maybe not the end of this week, the beginning of next week. Checks will start rolling out from the Internal Revenue Service and the Department of the Treasury. There'll be some extension of benefits. Now, we have to realize there are people that already lost the extension of benefits for at least a week or so. So there's going to be a whole process to try to get them back on the system again. And a lot of people across the country in various departments of unemployment have had a whole series of problems. So we're deeply concerned about that as well. I mean, the thing about this bill, and everybody was saying it, including President-elect Biden, was that this really was just a down payment to get started. When he gets in office, they're going to do a bunch of other stuff, do a lot of things to stimulate the economy. And this was basically a breakthrough. Although, a lot of people, including Republicans, were, pretty upset with Trump about not signing this. He came down and said he wanted $2,000, which is what Pelosi and others were, talking about. Secretary of Treasury Mnuchin was in the negotiation about the bill and had said the president was going to sign off on this. Originally, he was okay with it, and then he came out and did this. A lot of people think the president's starting to unravel. Like, he's not starting, folks. He's not starting. He's been unraveled for a very long time. Y'all just like finally you're coming out of the cult haze that you've been in, right? The Kool-Aid's wearing off, and all of a sudden you're like, this guy's crazy. And I'm like, we knew that all along that he was crazy. So now we're in this situation where we got to deal with him and recognize that he's just doing all kinds of craziness at the moment. So he finally signed off. Everybody was getting on him about needing to sign off.
All right. So Donald Trump has signed it. I'm not familiar with this because I'm not receiving those benefits. But if you're out there and you're on Facebook Live, put in the chat for us. Does this mean that because those benefits lapsed from Saturday till Sunday when he actually signed it, and they had to fly the bill all the way to Florida for him to get to sign it. Does this mean you have to actually go reapply, or will you automatically be, I guess, kept in the system? That's a legitimate question, and one that if people have to go reapply now, oh man, I can't believe how that's going to help any Republican senator in Georgia either of them keep their seat. They're in a real fight for their political lives. Warnock and Ossoff are giving them everything that they can handle. Donald Trump put them in a really tough position last week. That's why I said he's our free chicken. He is our secret weapon to help deliver those seats to Warnock and Ossoff by making Loeffler and Perdue now defend whether or not they want $2,000 or $600, right? And here's the interesting thing. He's going to campaign for them one more time, but the certification of the vote happens on January 6th.
Yeah.
The election is on January 5th in Georgia. Now, I've got to believe that, when he gets down there, I guess he's going to be in on the 4th. The only thing on his mind, as you just mentioned, as he is unraveling before our eyes, can you imagine the state of his mind by the 4th of January and knowing that how imminent this thing is on the 6th? He ain't going to be thinking about the two of them.
No.
That entire speech will be about him and how he's been screwed, how this has been stolen from him, how the Democrats lie, this election is bogus, voting doesn't matter. And I say, as I said last week, go Trump, go.
Well, I think, he's also got to think, Perdue's got to be thinking, and Loeffler have to be thinking that they were opposing him wanting the $2,000 in the stimulus bill. So I have to think, if Trump's thinking it, it's coming out his mouth. And, just like he did last time, when he called out Kemp while Kemp was standing there, he might call out Loeffler and Perdue while he's standing there because they did not back him on this $2,000 piece. Now, he'll say vote for them, but then he's going to go after them and be like, you didn't support me in my $2,000, a person piece, because he'll say it. He'll just say it. So, you got to be very careful with him. If I was them, I would be like, no, he can stay in D.C.
Yeah, I know, that's right. Yeah, it is really not worth the gamble. Look, we got to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Got to talk about Nashville, Tennessee, and the near tragic events down there. It's still a bad event, but is this a sign of other things to come? Or is this an isolated incident? We don't really know, but we'll certainly talk about it. This is the Power Hour. Don't go anywhere. Hit the share button on social media. Bring your friends and family in as well. We'll be right back.
This health and humanitarian crisis has shaken us all, as neighbors and as a nation. At Bank of America, we came together as a company and as a community with an unwavering commitment to advance racial equality and economic opportunity. We're thankful for the tireless efforts of our employees, partners, healthcare, and essential workers in the communities we serve. And we remain fully committed to the work ahead in 2021. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
I'm Councilmember at Large Isaiah Thomas. As the holidays approach, we've all heard the news. A vaccine for COVID-19 is coming. However, now is not the time to let your guard down. As COVID-19 continues to spread, keep wearing your mask, practice social distancing, and please avoid large gatherings. It will take time before we all can get the vaccine. Until then, keep yourself safe, your family safe, and your community safe. We will get through this pandemic together. Stay safe, everybody, and please stop the spread.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler. Hey, WURD family, you want to buy black for the holidays? We got you covered. WURD Radio is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local, small, black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Go to wordradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. So you can pick up those last-minute gifts for folk that you haven't seen yet, and you might want to get something for them or get your Kwanzaa gift. So feel free to reach out and get something for somebody you know and support a black business here in the city of Philadelphia. All right. So we were going to continue our conversation. Let's go. You want to go to? Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Help yourself, please.
No, I was going to say, do we want to go to Nashville?
Yeah, we got to talk about Nashville. But I'm trying to put a pin in something that you just said. That live read made me think. I don't know if you've seen the front page of the Inquirer. It just came out like a few minutes ago. But there's a huge story about the future of work and business in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
And your comment on small business, made me think about it. Maybe we should talk about it tomorrow. Give us both a chance to kind of read through it. But it's just one highlight that just jumped out at me, which is that Philadelphia spends 59 cents per capita on supporting black-owned and minority-owned business, while DC spends like over $6.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
we are, and black folk within the black community, we're always talking about how much further ahead DC seems to be for the black community in the sense of like wealth and ownership and business than Philadelphia. And numbers like that kind of stand out to you as like, oh, maybe that's part of the reason.
Yeah, there's deeper investment for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, that just, as you're reading that, I'm thinking like, man, we need so much more. And shout out to WURD for supporting and lifting up the importance of black business. But again, I think that some of these structural kind of issues are just so much more vexing and hard to deal with. Sure. So Nashville on Christmas morning, people woke up to a recreational vehicle, or RV, that was parked in kind of their touristy area. So this would be kind of considered like Old City, because this is where I think it's right around the corner from what I think I saw on the map, Johnny Cash Museum. And so a lot of the kind of country music stuff is down in that area. And so this RV was out there broadcasting a message warning people that it was going to blow up in 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes to evacuate. Law enforcement on the scene arrived, did not take it as a joke, took it serious, and started to evacuate people. This is in the early mornings when people are still probably groggy from a late Christmas Eve, and started to move people out. It did not blow in the 15 minutes that it said, but blew up. It actually did. And I mean, I talked to a good friend who's in Nashville over the weekend. He said it literally looks like a war zone. He's like, the pictures that you see, he said, on TV, they don't do it justice. It looks like a war zone in downtown Nashville. This bomb, fortunately, did not kill anyone except the person who set the bomb off, apparently. 63-year-old man who, I don't know, by most intents and purposes was kind of a loner, but that's, how these things start off. They can't connect him with anything in particular. I think the theory thus far is that he was disgruntled about 5G, and that he's a conspiracy theorist around the emergence of 5G, which is the next step from 4G. Remember 3G? I remember 2G, right? It's just, I mean, as far as I knew, it's just like faster internet service.
Right.
But apparently, and I've heard this a lot from our listeners as well, so I'm going to be interested in what the chat has to say in just a moment. But I've heard this a lot from these
from where this happened. Faith in Action actually has their annual training in Nashville, and so it's just this is just very frightening that folk would do this, and unfortunately, there are probably going to be copycats out there trying to imitate what just happened, and so that's deeply disconcerting that folk just feel like that they have to start doing these kind of things.
But I'm just saying, it's like, what is it? I mean, have you been following this 5G conspiracy?
I've heard about this, and I'm like, I don't really know that much about it, other than people, feeling like. But I mean, it's always some technological advancement that produces some level of anxiety in folk. But I don't know all the details of it, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't either. That's why I'm asking. I mean, I'm serious, because it's like, I remember on like older shows that I can't remember which show I was still doing at the time when it started to come out. But I remember like somebody would post all the time about, 5G is coming and it's going to do, X, Y, and Z. And I'm thinking like, I don't think so. I mean, there are plenty of ways. And look, trust me, I'm as like paranoid as any other self-respecting black person, right? I mean, Baldwin said to be like black and conscious is to be like in a constant state of rage, is also to be in a constant state of paranoia, right? So I have a healthy dose of paranoia like all the rest of you, but I just don't think 5G is it. And quite frankly, I want faster response time on my phone. And I'm like, why would they? I don't know. I don't get it. But apparently for this guy, it was that, but I think immediately people were beginning to think, is this a test for something larger? Because, older white guy, people immediately start thinking, is he like upset about the election? There's all this talk about trying to overturn the results of the election. People who are openly saying that this is not the end. Don't worry, we're not going away, we're coming back. So there was a lot of that kind of thought out there as well. So hopefully, this is just a guy who just, I don't know, man, just like a one-off as opposed to something that is more nefarious and connected to other things.
I think they still have a lot of research to do on this guy. Like, was he a part of QAnon? Was he, what was he following on the internet? I think that will answer a lot of questions for us and will tell us if this is isolated or, that particular incident might be isolated. But we've also seen with other bombers as well that there's a network that's underground that they're connected, but they're things that they do are individual. So I think we have to be very cautious at this point, and sort of wait to see. And I think it also helps us in this moment to sort of not that we're not already being hyper vigilant around COVID and other things, but if something looks suspicious, then we need to report it and get out of the way.
All right. Well, so I was, I don't know why I wasn't getting comments on my phone, but I'm able to pull them up now. Mm-hmm. So Will Mega says, remember the dumb blank from the Y2K conspiracy, right? Yeah, same. I mean, there's always this stuff. Rob says that so the bomb did take out the AT&T building. Kenrick says we're paranoid because we know someone's coming for us, just not sure who. Right. I mean, I get that. That's what I said. I mean, listen, the more we learn, the more we absolutely recognize that, all paranoia is not necessarily bad, but it can sometimes get to the point where it borders on just like, you kind of lose your own balance and perspective. That's and right. So anyway, well, I have a deeper question though, this Monday morning.
Go for it.
Can black people be accused and guilty of cultural appropriation of other black folks' stuff?
Okay, right. Roll that back again.
All right, so break down cultural appropriation first. All
right, so cultural appropriation is basically when you take something from another culture, you attempt to do it, you make it a part of like part of your culture, what you do. You're not necessarily giving them credit for it, but you're just kind of doing it. I mean, that's probably a really basic, too basic, simple definition. But it's sort of like, if you are a white person or a black person and all of a sudden you are like following Chinese culture, you're dressing like you're Chinese, you are appropriating different elements from their community and things of that nature, that's cultural appropriation.
So can black people do that to other black people?
I don't know. I mean, that's a very. Well, I mean, is it like, are we talking about black folk, black Americans culturally appropriating Africans? Or
No, black
Indians?
Americans appropriating other black American stuff that they.
I
All
don't
right,
think. I don't think you can do that.
all
No.
right. Let me tell you why I think that. All
All
right.
right.
I mean, well, let me at least tell you why the question's on my mind. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't worked this out all the way, but so yesterday, so my two youngest who are still at home are girls. All right, young women.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, that meant like a part of this weekend was watching Wonder Woman 84,
Mm-hmm.
which, they really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. It's not Marvel, so my expectations are lower. It's DC. So, I mean, whatever. But they also just really, really wanted me to watch Beyonce's Homecoming, which I've never seen. I saw like bits and pieces. I was like, it was in between the late afternoon NFL game and the 8:20 kickoff for Green Bay. So I said, all right, you got me for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Dad will play along, throw it on. So we start watching. Have you seen it?
No.
All right. So basically, it's just a Beyonce concert. It's no new music. It's all the same old music, but done with the backdrop of as though she were at an HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be an HBC. It's a band that apparently she put together for people who played in HBCU bands. They're dancers who look like they danced in HBCU,
Dance team.
bands. Yeah, the dance teams, the Ooh La La girls from Howard, I think the Pantherettes from Clark. Everybody's got a name for them. And everything was there, except maybe the drum major. And so I'm watching this. So Beyonce is kind of talking about how growing up, she didn't get to go to college because Destiny's Child was her college. Remember, she went right into the business. And so first, let me just stop and say it's a phenomenal experience watching it. But she talked about going to Tennessee State's homecoming as a child because she's from Houston, going up to Prairie View's homecoming, I would imagine Paul Quinn College, Bishop's College that's no longer with us, but all these schools and being influenced by that.
Mm-hmm.
But she ain't go to HBCU.
Mm.
And so as I'm watching this thing, and I said this to my daughters after we got into an interesting conversation. So one of them said, you should talk about that on your show. So I said, all right, good. So I don't feel like I'm like attacking her or them. But
Right.
it felt like, honestly, to me, kind of in the same way, like a person who doesn't go to church, but who's an entertainer, but is like, I love that black church choir stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that choir behind me. I want the choir. See, it's one thing for Aretha to do it, or someone who came out of, someone who has come out of that experience. It's their experience. They're now incorporating it into their R&B versus someone who doesn't understand it fully. And it kind of came off like, I was thinking like, man, if Beyonce was a white woman doing this, we probably wouldn't be too cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it felt like cultural appropriation to me.
Okay.
I'm just saying, bro.
All right. So first of all, Beyonce is a cultural icon in and of herself, right?
Yeah.
So I think, the fact that she is highlighting different aspects of black culture is deeply important. It's just like when she did Lemonade, right? Lemonade was really the whole piece that kind of was down at the Bayou. She's not down from the Bayou. She's from Houston. Now, granted, it's not too far away from New Orleans and from, Baton Rouge, and other places like that. But I think it was just she was using it as a vehicle to be able to tell a story about black culture and actually lifting black culture simultaneously. I mean, I think, there was Drumline. There are other movies that, have the marching band in it. But in some ways, they're often spoofed. And not necessarily deeply appreciating the culture and what all goes behind that. And I think her bringing Homecoming, using that as a backdrop to be able to tell a story, and actually for her to tell her own story about her experience. She actually had some experience with this, attending some of these homecoming gatherings, right? And I mean, I remember when Lincoln used to play Cheney every year, they would go down to Temple Stadium. You couldn't get down there to be able to see the game. And most people, as my mother used to tell us all the time, she's like, people don't go to black colleges to see the sports. They go to see the halftime show. That's what folk are going to. They're going to see the halftime show. And so because they want to see the band, the battle of the bands. It's a part of the culture. And it's black culture, whether you have had that HBCU experience or not.
Robert Garland. Robert says on Facebook, he said, wait, you're coming for homecoming? Quit while you're ahead. Well,
Yeah.
well, let me just say, Rob, I'm coming for him because I know the Bayhive is asleep right now. they, you know, during quarantine, they stay up all night long rewatching Homecoming. So they ain't up at 6:38 in the morning. I ain't scared of them at 6:38 in the morning. My daughters are asleep. And so, well, see, this is the problem. Again, you know, I guess what it felt like was, so
you in your feelings right now.
No, I ain't in my feelings. I'm telling you now. I attended 2 HBCUs, Clark Atlanta University and Payne Theological Seminary. And I've attended PWIs, University of Dayton. So I understand it from both sides. But the historically black experience, the college experience, whether it's Lincoln or Cheney or Dell State or, you know, any of these schools up here, Morgan, Howard, you know, Bowie, that there's something so much more than just the bands and the stepping. And what tends to happen is people latch onto that. You know, the movie, I mean, so for example, there's a big difference between the movie Drumline and how fake it was, although the music was dope, versus School Days.
Right.
Because, see, Spike Lee came out of Morehouse College. But also, he did all of his mass comm work at Clark Atlanta because he cross-registered. And so there is an authenticity that School Days has that none of these other films are like that. I can't think of that crazy show that's out there, The Yard or something like that, right? So all these other shows that only latch on to the part that is performative, and they forget the substance, right? I mean, my line brothers who I pledged with, one of them actually wrote all the music for the marching band at Clark. And I mean, and that dude, man, he had to be a scholar and he had to be in the band. So there's all of this other part that goes along with the experience, but it's almost like it feels like you're lifting the part that is like fun, the weekend stuff, without recognizing where it comes from. And I just wonder how different Homecoming by Beyonce would have been had she actually attended an HBCU. Because as a person who attended one, all I'm saying to you is it kind of felt like watching it like what happens when I watch white folk take something that is black. They don't quite understand it. And yes, you have recreated the image of it and the sound of it, but there is some soul missing in it. That's all I'm saying. It's 6:41. We got to take a quick break. I know you want to respond to that. So we'll be right back on the other side. You get the first word when we come back anyway. So have at it, my friend. It's the Power Hour. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples. Looking at a jam, we have 42 northbound. You're jammed approaching 55 up through 295. It's a accident being worked on. It's right at the ramp from 295 north to 42 north. So a heavy ride there as a result of this crash. Now 55 north also jamming Deptford into 42. 95 southbound, really not a bad ride this morning through the construction. Cotman down the bridge, Schuylkill Expressway westbound. Same thing, just some volume between University and 30th. A bit slow there because of the construction. Further west at the Blue Route, watch for some slowing there now because of an accident. Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home, office furniture, the latest tech and organizational supplies, all at amazing prices. Now at Staples, 2021 dated desk pads are just $3.99, off ends 1/2/21 while supplies last. Get big savings from Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
2020 is a year we're going to remember for a long time to come. And to start, WURD Radio has launched a 4-part podcast, onWURD 2020 in Black. Join me, Sarah Lomax Reese, and your favorite WURD hosts as we reflect on the big issues, from the pandemic to the global protests for racial justice to the 2020 election, and how you heard it all here on WURD, one of the only independent Black-owned talk radio stations in the country. Black lives have always mattered and will always matter here. Check out our new podcast, onWURD 2020 in Black, available on your favorite podcast app, or visit wordradio.com/2020 in Black. You can also ask your favorite device to play onWURD 2020 in Black. Check us out.
Word family. Join Brother Shamari for a deep dive into the Kwanzaa season, focusing on the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Sunday, December 27th from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday and Tuesday from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. Then on Friday, January 1st from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. All week, our programs will feature conscientious contemplation, insightful inspiration, and various guests who will provide spoken word, drumming, music, affirmations, meditations, storytelling, testimony, and fellowship. That's Brother Shamari, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. We're here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinions. And so we are grateful to do that. Let me just say this, because I know we got a caller on the line, and I want to get to him in a second. So I just disagree with you. I just don't think this is cultural appropriation. I think this is a part of our culture. And I think people see pieces of it that they have not been able to enjoy, and they want to be able to share pieces of it. I know our caller talked about the fact that, sometimes cultural appropriation is like the Divine Nine groups, the Black fraternities and sororities, and people try to appropriate our stuff. But I think that's a little different than what the HBCU experience is. And I think that this is actually highlighting the HBCU experience, and it's also another gateway for us to attract young people back to our Black colleges and universities, and for them to understand the importance of attending those spaces. So I'm gonna stop there, but I'm gonna let Will Mega come on board. And you wanted to say something before Will gets on?
Yeah. I was just gonna say. So think about remember the TV show Different World?
Yes, I remember Different World.
So Different World attempted, and Bill Cosby, to his credit, understood when he created the spinoff off of the Cosbys. Mm-hmm. I was an undergrad. I just started at Clark when Different World started. Like my first semester at Clark was that fall that Different World launched. Mm-hmm. And while people appreciated it, it wasn't really, it was missing something. You know who filled the void was Debbie Allen, Howard grad. And when Debbie got control of the reins, something happened and it became different. You know what I mean? It's like, again, I'm just saying that there is
But didn't Cosby go to Morehouse before he went back to Temple?
His son went to Morehouse.
Okay.
So, but I'm just saying there is there's something missing that again, it just felt like, and again, I mean, some of this is subjective, I'll admit. So, having been there, it just felt like that's a part of what we do. But it would be like people who focus on fraternities and sororities and think it's only about stepping. That is much deeper than stepping,
much deeper,
right? That is like, you don't understand. Like the stepping, that's the end of the process. But the other part of it is so much deeper and there's so much more. And so if you come to campus thinking you're going to pledge just because you want to step, like, man, you won't make it past an interview.
Right.
Speaking of fraternities.
Oh Lord, here we go.
let's bring on a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, Will Mega.
Good morning, brothers.
Good morning.
I'm kind of glad y'all continue to talk a little more before bringing me on, because your last comments, Mark, kind of you won me over a little bit more. It reminded me, I don't know if you remember, I guess it's been maybe about a year ago, that big article in the press about Temple being HBCU-ish. Remember that?
Yep. Oh, God, yes, please.
Yes, that quote fire. But I do believe that Bill Cosby was putting more time into trying to pay homage to HBCUs more than he was attempting to culturally appropriate. As a matter of fact, I literally right now, this over the last year, have modeled something that he was doing, which was wearing different sweatshirts of different HBCUs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And heck, I'm only going to one HBCU. And so, people ask me all the time, what you doing with the Morehouse hoodie on? Or why you got on that hoodie? And you went to that school? No, I'm just supporting HB. But have either one of you heard about Perp Alert?
No. What? Perp Alert. No. Is this like something for like, I don't know, like stranger danger?
Perp Alert. Well, you both know what perps are, right? In the D9 world, right?
Yeah. Right. Perpetrating. Yeah.
People who perpetrate being in the D9 organization. Perp Alert is now we have a system to weed out black cultural appropriation folks who want to perp being D9. So I agree with you, Mark. It can be done. That black people can culturally appropriate other black people's culture.
Thank you, Will Mega. This is a rare opportunity. I appreciate this. I'm going to, as soon as the show is over, right? I don't need a journal, but I'm going to create a journal that's going to start today with Will Mega agreeing with me. Thank you. Will, you still there? Oh, he hung up, man.
Oh,
I was going to give me some grief about that. No, look, and again, I'm not, it's not about, I get it. It's a touchy subject, and I'm reading your comments on social. Sheila says, for me, cultural appropriation is a real problem only when credit is not given to the originating culture. So I understand that. Gary says, I don't think you can call it cultural appropriation because she is black, but I get what Rev is saying. I don't have it completely thought out. I'm just saying to you all how it struck me in the moment when I watched it. And even my daughters who want to argue with me all the time about Beyonce and everything else were like, all right, I kind of get that. Because one of them is at Howard now. She's like, yeah, I kind of get that. Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. So Will Mega says he's never called him back. Yeah, whatever. Perp Alert. Kenrick says sounds like the Drop Squad. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
That movie is like old school. It's like some woke black folk who go around like just kidnapping black folk who have been brainwashed to like wake them up. Imagine like James Baldwin, Malcolm X, and King riding in a car, just scooping people up. Hey, we have another caller who wants to talk about this. Joseph from your part of the world, from
Massachusetts.
From Massachusetts. I had to call it with this culture appropriation stuff. I hope I got it right. I lived in Houston 5 years. I went to school at the University of Houston. I live right across the street at Texas Southern University, HBCU. Now, at night they practice marching band practice late at night, like from 12 to 2. And I'll just be like a zombie waking up in my bed just to go hear them speak. But I think when we talk about culture appropriation, we got to understand what the evildoers on top are really doing. They're making the 1%, the divine 9, to control the masses of the population, and that's where it's going to backfire. I have nothing against Phi Beta Sigma and all the others. There's nothing wrong with you pledging, but we always got to keep a third eye for the people on top, the money changers, what they're really doing, and it's really to keep the masses amount of black down real quick. And when I was at University of Houston, Texas Southern University, like 4 blocks away. And there were 8,000 students to 10,000 students. 2,000 of them were Nigerian. And they called Houston Little Lagos. And my roommate went to Texas Southern. I went to university. And during break time, they'll come home by us and we'll hang out. And most of my friends was African-American from TSU. And we'll get into debate about why the Nigerian students don't like the African-American students, why the African-American students don't like the Nigerian students. I think the problem is isolationism, where we look inside and don't look outside and realize just because they're black, they're from Nigeria, doesn't mean they're like you. And when you respect others, others make back respect. So what the moral of the story is, the Zionist Jews put this 1% of black to control the masses, just like they do with this one world government. And it's going to backfire. It's going to keep black people in the bottom for long. Go HBCU. Have a nice day.
All right. Thank you, Joseph, from Massachusetts by way of Nigeria, by way of Houston, or Houston by way of Nigeria. Thank you for that insight. I mean, listen, it is not an easy thing to put your hand on. And I think the key word that Joseph said for me is respect, right? You know, you want respect, you got to give respect. And so you have to be careful in how you handle something that's not yours. It's not your experience. I mean, you know, this could be the same conversation could be said about fraternities and sororities, as Leslie just said on here on Facebook, that, you know, that they actually had at least one fraternity member. I did see one person who had Omega Brands on, who was a part of the quote unquote step team that she had, that was a part of homecoming. You know, people who are in these frats may have some kind of strong feelings about their fraternity and sorority members being a part of this show, right? And monetizing it in that way to benefit Rock Nation versus, you know, the fraternities and sororities that gave them birth. So, you know, we don't have obviously enough time to talk about it. We're almost out of time, but I'm just glad you allowed me to kind of get this off my chest because, again, it was a great experience watching it. She's going to do a lot of good in helping young people decide to go to an HBCU. But to me, again, there was something missing, and it was a bit soulless, even though it was a good performance.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I just want to say that we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know who was designing it, who did the choreography, who was producing it, who even came up with the design and the idea about doing it in this way. It could have been somebody from D9s that went to HBCU. So, well,
I will say this. Hold on. I thought the director would have probably been, you know, somebody from HBCU. The director is actually white. That's not to say that a white person can't be an HBCU grad. That's Chances are, however, the person was not. Just want to throw that out there.
I got you. All right. Well, we have to pick this conversation back up at some point because we need to have a deeper conversation about HBCUs. But anyway, thanks everybody for checking us out here on the Power Hour this Monday, December 28th. We are glad that you were able to be here with us. We will be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to bring you the latest news, happenings around Philadelphia, and of course our opinions. Stay tuned for Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. Thank you, and shout out to Jordan Booth for holding it down for Kuwaitha Mathis today. All of our listeners, everybody checking us out on Facebook. We will be back on tomorrow. Now, go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.